I'm Melissa Hoffman, and I came to Vermont first in 1994 to farm organic vegetables. I moved here to this present farm in 2003, and the goal was to start to address climate change, food resilience, and energy generation all in one place. So Living Future Foundation was born, and the project was started here on what is now Show Farm in 2003. We have a living systems, we call it living systems design, where we're producing solar electricity, and we have an integrated energy system here. But we united salvaged, site harvested wood and local materials, local skill to try to produce this demonstration of integrated design. Because we've had the privilege of observing through time plants, animals, and the relationships between them, insects, birds, weather change, plantings, mushrooms, water flows, everything, and how everything relates to everything else. We're focusing far more on resilient food systems that also work in harmony with animals. And in this case, and in our case, both wildlife and former farm animals. And so it's teaching us how to establish a far different relationship with animals as we care for them for their entirety of their lives, rather than as using them as a product or a commodity. Hemp has been a growing love of both Sean's and mine. And Sean was actually the one who came up with the idea that we should grow hemp here, because she suffered from very acute pain from endometriosis. And it was the CBD from Vermont grown hemp that alleviated her symptoms dramatically. And we learned in the course of finding resolution to her issue that so many women experience pain in their menstrual cycle, which are, and they're just told that it's normal. But in many cases, it is a sign of endometrial tissue outside the uterus functioning and causing inflammation in the body. We felt that that was a perfect crop to add to our permaculture orchard, which has over 250 different species of plants, plus all the wild plants that grow in our midst. We decided this last year to sell some of our hemp products to other people in a very small quantity at first, because we're experimenting with growing it here and integrating it. The proceeds go to support the animals and who are refugees from an industry that never has intended them to live beyond their slaughter date. Again, and you can see a theme here at our farm, is that we think in systems, and we think in mutualisms, and we think as an integrated set of relationships. So the ducks produce manure that we compost and add into our permaculture orchard. We're thinking in terms of bringing wildlife back into a food system, how to design a food system that relates to wildlife instead of encroaches on their habitat, that can actually bring wildlife and biodiversity. And how can we develop an ebb and flow of nutrient flows, of habitat, of browse that benefits them and benefits us as well. And this is a whole body of research that we're engaged in formulating with other wildlife ecologists, and we also aim to help sanctuary owners to develop relationships with farmers so that we're developing and growing food in a non-exploitative setting. It's hard to summarize in one word. We embrace complexity, and one must embrace complexity in the future marketplace as we meet our food and medicine needs. And so we need to listen. We need to listen and observe what's around us, and then we need to create our sustenance based on what we learn. So we're going to continue to grow hemp in the short term. We've got another grow scheduled for the season, and we're interested in learning how to grow it without tillage. We want to grow hemp in a non-conventional method where we are exemplifying the best practices that relate to soil health, that relate to bird health, that relate to system health. So we're not going for high production. We've learned in the last year how to prune and manipulate plants to help them withstand high winds, which we have here. So how do we grow a high quality plant that has a high quality yield with creating appropriate disturbance? That's a short-term goal. And so our long-term goal is to have a successful hemp business, but also to do it in the context of this conservation approach to agriculture, human communities, and a new relationship between food production and animals.